All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Who's Right podcast, and I'm here going solo today, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to talk to you guys. This is we're on a momentum. We've matched our season high for win streak, and but before we get into it, hey, let's subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let us know how you're feeling. You're feeling the good vibes. You feeling everything that's going on? How you feeling? You thinking we're gonna make the playoffs? Let us know how you feel. There's a whole bunch to get into in this series. We kept the good vibes going, and on Monday, um, we had Severino kind of keep it going, right? Keep the good vibes going. This 1, 2, 3 of Severino, Mania, and Peterson is. I mean, I'm ready for the playoffs right now. It's something that we got to appreciate. If we make the playoffs or not, this time has been magic. Severino gave us um, 7 innings, 1 run ball. Great performance by Severino, and Lindor keeps going on his MVP chase. Every time he came up, he kept hearing the chants of MVP, and well deserved. Because nobody else is having a season like that. I know Otani is having a great season himself, but Lindor's carrying this team, which is the difference, right? Dodgers are the Dodgers. Lindor is carrying his team, but Severino came in, gave us 7 innings, and you know Diaz wasn't available. So Maton came out for the save and did a great job. Danny Young in the eighth and Maton for the save. So right now, the person that they trust right after Diaz seems to be Maton. And what an acquisition that is by David Stearns. He's a guy that we just paid money for. We didn't give up anything for him except for money, and this is what we can do with Steve Cohen and Stearns. So Stearns is finding new ways to be an executive, right? Because before, with Houston and Milwaukee, he was um, he had a budget, right? And not that he doesn't have a budget with the Mets, but he clearly has a budget that he can actually make some moves on. And Maton is one of those where we just gave up money to get him, and he's turning out to be after Daniel Nunez, but we don't know if he's coming back. Our second best reliever in that bullpen, and because of an outing like Severino today, you know our bullpen seems to be thriving right now, and I attribute it all to our guys going deep, going 7 innings. If we only have to worry about 2 innings, that makes it a lot easier on that bullpen, and that's what's going on right now. There's not much else to say. Severino took the show in game one. In game two, we got um, Peterson on his birthday, and he gave us, not another quality start. He gave us 6 innings. He had his most strikeouts, 11 Ks. That high heat by Peterson in this game was working, and the Boston batters were chasing. And it's one of those things where if they're going to chase it, you're going to keep throwing it, and Peterson did. And he had one little hiccup. Guess what inning was that? In the third. And but other than that, he shut it down. He's feeling the 11 Ks in this game. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he's a guy that when you offer him when you give him those strikeouts, he's going to take them. And this is one of those things where you attack the strike zone, whether you get strikeouts or not, you're going to get deep in the game. And so this is one of those examples of that. If we're chasing strikeouts all the time, we tend to start walking people. But Peterson's figured it out that you attack the strike zone, and all you do is get deep in the games and becoming that pitcher that we thought he was going to be. Before the hip injury. And how what a difference between Peterson and that hip injury, right? Because it's one of those things where you know um, most of us didn't know he had a bad hip, and so and now he comes back and gets right, and you know, and you see what kind of pitcher he can become. And again, Lindor responds in this game and becomes the pitcher. I mean, the pitcher. Thinking of Peterson. He continues to add on to that MVP resume, and he puts us in the lead, right? 3-run homer, and he was eyeing him. Second time up, it seems like sometimes we get on Lindor about the strikeouts. When I say we on this podcast, we get on him about the strikeouts, and he was sizing him up. He strikes out the first time at bat, and the second time at bat, he sized him up and launched it. And he continues to show the MVP that he is. And you know, we're in the series, we're seeing Nimmo start to kind of break out, starting to hit the ball better. And I'm hoping, if we get that back-to-back Lindor, Nimmo, and Vientos going, that's going to be deadly top of the order. And it's one of those things that they're hot right now, and they got to keep it going. And Lindor continues with that resume. He mentioned it. Things aren't the MVP is not won in the beginning of the season. It's won in August and September, and he's starting to prove that. He's starting to show that he's a guy that turns it on. We talked about it in the beginning of the season. Everybody was on him about his slow start, and I kept telling y'all, he's a guy that when the temperature goes up, he starts showing out, and that's what happened. And as soon as the weather turned, Lindor was a different person, and like Stern says, he's trying to challenge for the best Mets player season of all time. He's not there yet, but he's definitely challenging for that. And then we're going to go to Game 3. We had probably McGill's last start. It's one of those things where McGill comes in, and this is the game where he needed to show that he needed to stay in the road, at least stay up with the ball club, because right now I don't know if he's even staying up with the ball club, because even Braziban is pitching well. So Alex Young is pitching well. Do we really need that long man? But to recap it, McGill goes 4 innings, gives up 3 runs, right? Because Mendoza said, in this game that by his actions, Mendoza said that we're gonna we're gonna try our best to win this game, and he took him out in the fourth. And shout out to Yuki hopping on, and the Rockies are on top 3-1 on the Braves, and you love to see it. Maybe by the end of the night, we'll be tied for that third wild card spot. and that'll be awesome to see. Because we're you know we were all fully expecting to be one game out because of our day off and the Braves playing today. So it's one of those things where it might be might be a good thing. We might be tied with the Braves coming into tomorrow. And but going back to this game, McGill Mendoza said, we're not going to lose this game. We get the lead, and um, and McGill gets taken out after 4 innings. We got this is the one that this is the Winker game, right? I was listening to Evan Roberts, and Winker's waves hit different now. Now he's waving into the crowd, and and now we like it. When he came in as an opposing player, he was waving into the crowd, and we weren't having it. And now he's waving. Evan said he's waving and he's waving back. So it's one of those things that now we love the Winker wave, but this was the Winker game, with that grand slam, and what another awesome pickup by Stearns, and he's kind of solidified this lineup, because at the time we had not only Alonso, but Martinez was struggling, so Winker comes in and he splits those guys up, and now we don't have that back-to-back outs like we used to have, because now we got Winker in between them, and he's responding, right? And unfortunately, one of the things that does hurt us is not having Bader out in the outfield, right? Because he's slowed down, and our best offensive outfield is having Marte, Nimmo, and Winker out there, and it's one of those things where, right now with the injury, or the fear of injury that Nimmo has with diving for balls and stuff like that, it's something that we is it something that we need to reevaluate and have Bader out there and sacrifice offense for defense. I don't know. So far, right now in this streak, it hasn't hurt us, but it's something that needs to be talked about, because at the end of the day, we you got to score some runs, right? And the name of the game is preventing runs and scoring some runs. It'd be interesting to see um, what happens going forward. Obviously, Bader can get hot again and get fight his way back into the lineup, because I believe if he's hitting, he's going to be in the lineup. But if he's not hitting, there's no sense to having Bader out there, because Marte, even though he's not hitting much as well right now, he's still a threat. He's a better base stealing threat, and an overall threat on the offensive side. It's interesting to see what's going to happen, in the future with with that with that outfield. That's in a nutshell. We kind of swept the Red Sox, something that we weren't expecting, but I'm fully on board with, obviously, right? Because we want to keep the good vibes going, and we got to make sure that we continue this. If that score holds up with the Rockies, we're tied with the Braves for that last wild card spot. So. Any concerns that we have in this game? I don't know. I think it's still Pete. To be honest with you, that's the only concern that I have, because this bullpen. You even saw Reed Garrett, coming back to form, coming back to being Reed Garrett, because and I attribute it all to the rest that they're getting. Right, they're getting a kind of flow, because you know Mania, Severino, and Peterson are going late in the games, right? You're not using as many guys, right? In this game, you did, but that's because you were going all out. You had today off, and you were going all out to win this game tomorrow. yesterday, and because we were going after that sweep, and Mendoza he smelled the sweep, and he wanted that sweep, and so you use up the whole bullpen because of the day off, and it's but going back to Reed Garrett, he's looking like Reed Garrett again, and I think it is because we're not overusing him. We kind of were harping on that back in June that Reed Garrett's getting all this blame, but he was being overused because we didn't have a bullpen, right? How many times have we seen Stanek recently? We've seen them a couple times, and the couple times that he's come out, he's done well because we're not overusing him. Brosbon's still a little bit, he pitched well, but still a little bit of a heart attack, I think. But at the end of the day, but he still pitched well, and Alex Young came out and pitched well, and and it's one of those things where who goes down when Blackburn comes up this weekend. Um, and Yuki's concern is that you know Mets offense is a little streaky, and I tend to agree a little bit, because we talked about the hide and seek nature of this offense, and and it's one of those things where we gotta stay consistent, and I think part of that. I don't know if you think this, Yuki, or not, but part of that I think is because Alonso's inconsistent, right? How many times did he come up and he had opportunities to drive in runs this series? To the point that we saw his frustration boil over, and breaking his back, and so it's one of those things that he's coming up in big spots and not producing, and kills the rally and kills opportunities for us to score. So I think part of the reason, part of the concern of them being so streaky is Alonso's inconsistency. And they blew it open yesterday, but that was in spite of Alonso because he came up and was the first out of that inning before Jensen kind of walked everybody home. So it's I think part of the reason why the offense is streaky is because of Alonso. He's kind of a hole in the middle of the lineup right now. And when he does well, that lineup is deep. When he doesn't, he's a hole in it, in that lineup. So, I still think, the inconsistency of Alonso is the reason why that offense is streaky. And Yuki's other concern is Budo. I forgot to mention. Glad Yuki brought it up. And as Budo looks a little shaky right now. Yuki thinks that it's because he's tired. It might be, or he's just coming back to earth, right? Who knows? I hope not. I hope it's just being tired. But I don't know if he's pitched a lot last couple weeks. But who knows? Maybe he's a guy that actually needs more work than he's getting. Maybe that's the case for Budo, that he actually needs a little bit more work because at times, he was getting 2 innings, getting a couple of days off, a few days off, and then coming back and pitching a few innings again. And I don't think he's done that consistently since the guys have been going deep. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think part of why Budo may be struggling is because he's not being used as much as he was before. A couple times recently he's only pitched 1 inning, and so I don't know if that's part of it. It's interesting. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but it'd be something to watch and consider. Because he's been one of our better relievers. But if he's going to struggle, what does that do to the bullpen? And talking about Senga, Yuki's talking about Senga coming back, and it's one of those things where I don't know if they're rushing him back. To be honest with you, I don't think they are, because at this point, you know, he can't come back until the end of the season, right? Last week of the season, and regardless of him being ready or not, he can't come back. And but if he's ready, why not use him? Because at the end of the day, um, after October is the off season, so why not try to get some work out of him if he's ready? I'm not saying to put him in there if he's not, but if he's ready, put him in. It's one of those things that they told us that he was done for the season, right? That he may come back in the playoffs, and now we're hearing that first it started that he might come and be in the bullpen. Um, Now we're hearing that he might be, kind of that bullpen starter kind of thing, where he pitches 3 innings or so, and and that's all he does, and then it becomes a bullpen game, right? Because we wouldn't use him out of the bullpen because that I think might hurt him, to be honest with you, because he might be one of those guys that, or not one of those guys. He is one of those guys because he's a starter. He's been a starter all his life. Starters prepare differently than relievers do, and we saw it with Budo. Budo, when he first came up, the reason why he was used the way he was used was because he needed to prepare to get into the game. Because he was still thinking like a starter. So I think if Senga does come back, he's going to be kind of that starter that we grown to love and hate. But in this situation, we're going to love because it's Senga, right? So I think and then if we do make it into the playoffs, that just every every time he comes up, that just you add an inning or so, and to the point where if we go deep, he's a full-fledged starter, and we got 4 starters that are going to be lights out, between Severino, Senga, Manaya, and Peterson. So if he's ready to come back, like I said, Yuki, I'm not saying if he's not ready, yeah, let him sit and let him get healthy. But if he is healthy, um, let's get in there. Let's get in there and help this ball club. And at the end of the day, he's going to want to come in there, right? If we're in a playoff run, he's going to want to come in there if he's healthy, right? I think like we saw Senga in the beginning of the season. He's not going to come back unless he's ready. Um, you know, he slowed down his ramp up because he didn't quite feel right. Right. We dealt with that in May. Right. He wasn't he didn't feel right. He was a little off. There was something still wrong, and he told the club about it. So I have full confidence that Senga would do that again, because he's just that type of player. He's going to let you know because he wants to put his best foot forward, and so I think that's what's going to happen with Senga is that if he's ready, he'll come back, and if he's not, he'll let the club know that he's not ready to come back. And I think we can trust that he'll do that because he's already done that. So, um, and let's get into the who's right part of the podcast. We'll probably not have any future for the Reds series, but this series again, it's got to be the MVP that takes it, Lindor. I know Winker had a good series himself and had the grand slam in Game 3, but Lindor took over for the first two games, and he was solid. Continuing his MVP kind of run. So the best hitter on the Mets side still got to be Lindor. And I don't know why we don't we I think Yuki, you picked him, but I don't think I don't know why neither of us picked him. And then as far as the pitcher, Victor was hoping for the best, picking McGill. You know, I was hoping that he was right. Not going to happen, right? I picked Peterson. He pitched well, gave us quality start, but my last, but it's got to be Sevy, right? Yuki got 2 out of 3 for me in my case. He got Lindor, Sevy. He got those right because he's going with the hot hand. He's not gonna not pick Lindor, right? Right, Yuki, you're not gonna not pick Lindor because why would you stop picking Lindor right now? He's our MVP, and so it's one of those things where it's we got to continue to pick Lindor. I don't understand what we're doing here. And as far as the hitter, Yoshida had his moments, but Duran was pesky. I would give it up to Duran. He was pesky, got on base, and was begging to be driven in, but Red Sox couldn't do it. To the point that there's even talk about Devers kind of not even finishing the season. So I don't know exactly what's wrong with Devers. I don't know if it was a shoulder or something. I can't remember right now. Y'all can correct me or let me know exactly what it was, what they were talking about. But they were talking about shutting him down for the season, and so and all thanks to us, right? Because but at the end of the day, they're still in it because even though the Red Sox were losing, everybody else in the AL was losing too. So they didn't lose any ground. So those are the 3 guys. Lindor, Sevy, and Duran. So Yuki won the week, against us because for some reason we're not picking Lindor. So I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it is what it is, right? I guess we got to learn from our mistakes here. So tomorrow night we got Manaya going for us. He's going to continue his new found start, and Quintana on Saturday, and on Sunday we got Severino again. And the Breds don't have theirs listed, and I didn't check on the rotation of what they're about to have. But I still expect, even though they got Ellie De La Cruz, I still expect us to take at least 2 out of 3. I'm no longer going to be asking for sweeps like I did in the White Sox series, but I am going to say we need to continue to win series until continue to win series. I won't even finish that sentence. So we need to continue to win series and make sure. Yuki, let me know what your picks are for this series. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Lindor, Minaya, and Ellie De La Cruz. I know Victor hasn't chosen, but those are going to be my guys. Yuki, you let me know what your guys are, and everybody else in the chat or on replay, let me know what your guys are, and we'll see who got the 3 guys for this series. But I still think that Lindor is going to continue. I'm no longer going to not pick him. For the series, Yuki is picking JDM. JD having a baby, congratulations, first kid. That might be a good pick because he might be on a high right now, because it is his first kid, and he might be on a high right now, and that's a good pick out of you, Yuki. And Manaya, we're in agreement there. And Spencer Steer, that's a good pick. Spencer's on my fantasy team. Um, you know, um, and he's a solid player. And I'm going to, that's a good pick by you, Yuki, because yeah, I really like Spencer Steer. He's a solid hitter, and he's been consistent all year. But for me, I'm gonna still go with Elliott or Cruz because it's still, one of those things where, he's their best hitter. Yeah, so at any moment he can be pesky. But again, we're picking these guys to be pesky, not to kill us too much, right? Yeah, it's those are good picks, and we just got to keep the good vibes going. Get us 2 out of 3, and I'll be happy. I'm not asking for the sweep, even though we should we should we can sweep this team, but teams are hard to sweep, and so I'm not going to be picking a sweep because those teams are trying to win too. But I think I'm fully confident in this team winning at least 2 out of 3 and keeping the good vibes going and keeping the streak going and maybe not the win streak going, but at least winning series and gaining ground on all the teams, right? Not just Atlanta. Gaining ground on Arizona. Not sure how Arizona did today. I know they were playing. Who was Arizona? San Francisco. So Arizona lost today, right? So we gained half a game on Arizona. Padres are leading right now, but those are the 3 teams in front of us: Atlanta, Arizona, and San Diego. And so it's one of those things where we may be gaining some ground on 2 teams, right? We're gaining ground on Arizona for sure, and we may be gaining ground on 2 teams today, and and Cincy is on the streak right now. So because Yuki pointed out that they swept the Astros, and so we gotta slow them down. 2 out of 3. That's all I'm asking. Let's keep it going. I'm going to end it there because I'm going solo. But in replay, let us know your comments. Let us know how you're feeling. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video, and yeah. So let us know how you're feeling. Let us know what your concerns are. How you're feeling about this team. Lindor the MVP or not? Yes. Let us know why you think he's the MVP. But guys, let's get 2 out of 3 from Cincy. Until the next series. Let's go Mets.